In the latest IAEA report, the organization confirmed that the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant was mined. According to the agency, the ZNPP is mined along the perimeter and in some places inside. The IAEA also reported that Zaporizhzhia NPP has received the water necessary for cooling from reserves stored in the discharge channel of the nearby Zaporizhzhia thermal power plant over the past 2 weeks. As for the threat of undermining the station, international efforts to create a demilitarized zone around the Zaporizhzhia NPP have not yet been successful.
We are not here talking about a treaty or a convention or a legal agreement. What we have is 5 basic principles. Don't attack the plant, don't attack from the plant, don't make the plant a military basis, don't cut the external power supply, etc., etc. So these things are things that must be done.
Recall that for more than a year, Zaporizhzhia NPP, the largest plant in Europe, was captured by the Russian military. The invaders placed military equipment and ammunition at the nuclear power plant site. The Russians are also shelling the plant itself, destroying power lines, causing the shutdown of power units and blaming the armed forces of Ukraine for this. If the explosion at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant does occur, then the isolation of Russia will increase.
The status of Russia will change. Legally, it will be a terrorist country. Accordingly, then, there will be no need to think about any packages of sanctions. What will include? What industry will we sanction? The status of a terrorist country unequivocally removes all foreign companies from Russia that still work there and pay taxes. They remove Russia's trade relations with many countries, including neutral ones, and sharply reduce the flow of money to the budget.
The administration of US President Joe Biden said that they were closely monitoring the development of the situation around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant temporarily seized by Russian invaders. As the representative of the US National Security Council, John Kirby, noted, Washington cannot now confirm signs of an increase in the level of radiation in the area of the power plant in the temporarily occupied Enerhodar.
We're continuing to monitor it closely. We are able to monitor some radiation sensors that are around the plant, and thus far we've detected no elevated levels of radioactivity.
If the Russians carry out a terrorist attack at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, law enforcement officers and rescuers of Ukraine are preparing to eliminate the consequences, so they have already deployed sanitary headquarters, power engineers, employees of the State Emergency Service, police and doctors will be on duty there. The first day after the explosion, when the radiation background will be the highest, will be the most important.
The radioactive background that may be in the air after any event will remain for about 1 day. That is, we will reduce the radiation background by 80% during the day. Igor Klemenko, Minister of Internal Affairs of Ukraine, on the air of the national telethon.
The safe operation of the ZNPP was threatened after the Russian bombing of the Kakhovka HPP. This attack was called the largest man-made environmental disaster in Europe in decades. The damage caused by the explosion of the hydroelectric power station, according to preliminary estimates, exceeds $1.5 billion, Prime Minister of Ukraine Denis Shmyhal said. Meanwhile, the Russian occupiers are doing their best to hide the traces of their crimes. Thus, according to the President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky, the Russians formed special groups to hide the killed people due to a terrorist attack they had organized at the Kakhovka hydroelectric power station.
Complete deoccupation of the Zaporizhzhia NPP is needed because an order for any evil can come from Russia. So they did in Mariupol and in other cities. But this is the truth that cannot be hidden, and I thank everyone who helps our intelligence, our special services, to get the necessary information.
According to experts, a terrorist attack at the ZNPP will definitely have cross-border consequences and will affect countries that border Ukraine. Countries of all of Europe, Turkey and Russia itself would take serious damage from a possible explosion on the nuclear power plant. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.